Hi, this is Lynn from Cheese and Yogurt Making, and we continue our journey of meeting with cheesemakers from around England. And today I'm delighted to be chatting with John from Cheese on the Way in Surrey. Hello, John.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, nice for you to glad you took the time out and speak to us today. I love the name, by the way, Cheese on the Way. Where did you just made that up? How did that arrive?
We sat down one Christmas about 6 years ago and came up with a whole list of names, and none of them were really suitable. And then my partner, she said, well, why not Cheese on the Way? Because we are, our dairy is about 100 yards from the River Wey, in a very picturesque location. And of course, we do like a pun or a play on words. And we'd taken so long getting the business running that we kept on saying to people, it's on the way. So it's Cheese on the Way. And of course, there's WHEY and the River Wey. So it was just a natural. And now, whenever we sell at farmers markets, you can guarantee someone will go past and say, Cheese on the Way, that's a good one.
I love that. I love that story. That's such a good, it keeps it in people's mind. And like you say, it's a little bit different. So I love that. Tell me about the picture behind you, John. Is that where you're based?
Yeah, that is a picture of our premises. We're actually on Pierpont Farm, which is owned by the Countryside Restoration Trust. They're based up in Cambridge, but they've got farms and properties throughout the southeast, and what they do is promote traditional values. It's not, going back to horse and cart, that sort of thing, but traditional values that benefit the countryside, benefit the tenants, and benefit everybody. And we're based on their farm in a building, surprisingly enough, that used to be the old dairy. So where we are, they used to milk the cows. Now there's quite a community down here. There's a guy who makes chairs. There's a brewery, a micro brewery. I'm hardly ever there, but I have to do it sometimes. And there's a couple of ladies making jewellery next to us. There's a Scandinavian furniture second-hand company in one of the barns. It's quite a hive of activity down here. And then, of course, there's us. It's a perfect location for us. I used to, in a previous life in construction, travel 50 miles up to London every day. Now, I'm 2 miles away from the dairy. And the biggest problem I've ever had is that sometimes we get a cow jam on the cattle grid. Have to share them along. So cheese making, believe me, it's got a few stresses, but they are different stresses to what I was used to. I love it. Love making cheese.
Oh, that is brilliant. I love that story.
I don't know how I got into
it. So I think I'm right in saying, did it kind of start out as a hobby for you? Am I right in thinking that's how it began?
I've always liked cheese. I've never made any up till about 7 years ago, when my partner, for my birthday, she bought me a one-day cheese making course at River Cottage. Yeah, and it was like you see in the cartoons where the little light bulb on top of the head goes boing. It was like that. The light bulb turned on, and I thought, I can see now how you can make so many different cheeses, and you can make unique cheeses. Just dive into it and make unique cheeses right from the start. So that was fine. I came back from that, started making cheese at home, and then where I am now, that used to be a dairy, milking parlour. In between that and me taking it, there was a microbrewery here. So one day, over several pints outside their microbrewery, I thought, I could do this. I must be mad, but I could do this. And before long, I signed the lease, and there we go. Started up from there. Now, my previous job was in construction, so theoretically, we should have got the building side of it done in no time. But it's like the cobbler's kids; they've always got holes in their shoes because he's too busy out earning money. And I was too busy in construction to get my guys on site to do here. So it took longer than it should have done to get this place ready. Then there's things like HACCPs for the environmental health, all the paperwork and that side of it. So in fact, it was only just under 2 years ago that we started selling cheese. And it's gone from strength to strength. We've now got something like 16, 18 stockists. We supply to restaurants, including a Michelin-starred restaurant. And of course, I'm a glutton punishment, so we always do the farmers markets. So I'm doing 7 farmers markets at the moment each month, one of which is a specific cheese market, which is the Chiswick cheese market.
Yeah.
Which is really good, really interesting. And I just love meeting the people as well. I'm that sort of age now where, you know, I can just talk to people, just chat, talk the hind legs off them. My partner, she's like that as well. So that's quite handy.
It is handy. That is fantastic. So you've told us a bit about the farmers market that you're at and the stockists and things like that.
Yeah.
So if there are a couple of names and places where we can get the cheese before we have a look at some of the cheeses, talk about a few of those stockists. Anyone, either 1 or 2 big ones or something that you want to mention?
Well, they're generally in Surrey or just on the outskirts of Surrey. You can find them all on our website. I say that hesitatingly because we're just upgrading at the moment. It hasn't got half the stockists on, but it will have, and it has details of the cheeses we do as well. Plus, in terms of farmers markets, they're all local in Surrey. There's Ripley, West Byfleet, Weybridge, Guildford, West Horsley, Farnham, of course, and the Chiswick Cheese Fair.
Okay, that's a really good array of places we can get hold of these cheeses. Now let's get to the good bit. Let's have a look. I know you've got some of the cheeses there. Can we just look at 1 or 2 and have a chat about the type of cheese it is and the flavours and things like that? What have we got there to show us?
Okay. So the first one I've got for you here is Millie. Named after my granddaughter.
Oh,
so that is not bless.
That is lovely.
That is Millie. It's a carefully type, but I use the cheddaring process to produce it. So it's kind of a cross between a carefully and a cheddar, and we've got some really good followers for that. It cuts well, it eats well. It's my first cheese, really, first cheese that I made. Quite simple to make. And get a lot of customers asking for that. We do a blue version of that as well.
Yeah.
Which, you know, there's all sorts of blues on the market. So some people think it's flooded with blues, but a lot of those are strong. You've got Santaguer or Roquefort, which I love, but they're salty, they're a strong taste, and not everybody likes that in a blue. But this is actually quite mild and subtle. Very well figured, loads of blue in it, but subtle. And right from the start, because we started selling in the pandemic, we've always given tasters. We did a risk assessment, and we have a method whereby there's no contamination or touching and that sort of thing. So we've done tasters right from the start. A lot of people say, "Oh no, I don't want to taste that one. I don't like blue cheese." I say, "Humour me, just try it." And it's there. It's got that mustiness and farmyard smells that a good blue has, but they kind of come on at the end. They're in the background and come forward, and we really, really do get a lot of demand for that. It's keeping up is the issue.
That's not a bad problem to have, though, is it?
Not a bad problem to have. When I started out, I had 100-litre vat, and that would make about 20 kilos of cheese, something like that. Well, each one of those weighs 2.5 kilos, so I was getting about 8 of those, 6 to 8 of those out of the batch, which is really not a lot for the effort put in.
Right.
So about this time last year, actually February last year, I thought I must have a bigger vat. But I thought at the same time, there's no way I can afford that. And at the time, the government were giving various loans, one of which was a bounce back loan scheme.
Okay.
Essentially, all you had to do to get it was be able to write your name and possibly put an X on it. That was all you needed to get it. So I thought, great, that's perfect timing. Got that, and I found a 350 litre vat up in Norfolk that was ideal. So I bought that. I had to modify it because it was 3-phase and we're single phase, blah, blah, blah. But we're now producing up to 350 litres at a time. So instead of making 6 of those rounds, sorry, what I showed you was a cheese cut in half. So you can imagine that. I was making 6 of those a batch. I'm now making about 22.
Wow, a big jump.
A big jump. It was essential because, well, I planned the building right from the start that we could start at this level and increase tenfold without needing bigger premises. But of course, you need more equipment, you need more molds, you need a lot more wrapping, which of course we get from you at Cheese and Yogurt. Everything just scales up.
Yeah.
You need bigger heaters, bigger power supply, etc. But we're now working very well with that 350 litre vat, making a lot of cheese.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got, I'll tell you this one, this is our Waywood. I forgot everything's the wrong way round, isn't it, on these, but that's our Waywood with our sort of company logo, which actually shows a bridge over the River Way just down from us.
That's
and
brilliant.
The squiggle at the end of On the Way is a reasonable depiction of the river as it goes past us. And there, you might not be able to see that, but that basically a gold sticker we put on them because we came first with our wash rind cheese. The virtual cheese awards last year.
Oh, wonderful.
So we had to send 8 of these off to a sort of collecting centre. They sent them out to 4 separate judges, and there was a big Zoom meeting for them to judge it.
Oh, wow. You must have been really proud. That's fantastic.
Well, sort of, but when they announced it, you know, Zoom isn't always that good, and sometimes you miss it. I could have sworn they said, and 3rd prize to Cheese on the Way for Waywood. I thought, that's pretty good. But then the results were published, and I was first. I went back and looked through it again. I'd misheard it.
Oh, really?
So sometimes one does have a bit of luck.
It's what a pleasant surprise then, seeing that you've done that. Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. Well, look,
and also we have another cheese that we do. A little bit of background to this. We are on the cycle route called King Alfred's Way. So it goes right past our door. So I thought I'll make a cheese because that cycle route was kind of inaugurated last year, the year before. So I'm producing a cheese called Alfred's Yellow Jersey. So again, a little play on words because we use yellow Jersey milk, and of course yellow jerseys and cycling, what it's all about. So that's a 5 kilo Gouda style cheese with fenugreek seeds and yellow waxed. It looks spectacular, and I can't make it fast enough. So
well, it sounds like you're going from strength to strength, and what started out with a cheese kit and a few beers one afternoon has now produced what you're making today and taking you to where you are today. And you know, you have people that come and knock on the door, and you're meeting all sorts of people, and you're just growing really and getting bigger and bigger. So whatever you're doing is right. I'd like to eat some of your cheese, so I might ask you to send me some. It looks delicious. It really does.
You're welcome to come down and try some. Or I'll send you a box over.
We're not too far from you guys, actually, so that would be a good excuse to head on down and come and knock. Well, go on. Sorry.
So I was just going to say, and we produce up to 8 cheeses, but 3 of those are seasonal.
Okay.
And I didn't want to make the mistake of doing dozens of cheeses, none of which were that good. So I started out with a couple of cheeses, then it grew to 3, then 4, and the others kind of spun off that. But I don't really want to make any more types of cheese. But it's useful that we have enough that we can put 4 or 5 cheeses outside when we're selling. You couldn't do that if you were just producing one cheese, really.
No, you couldn't. And actually, I was going to ask you, because am I right in thinking sometimes you do cheeses for special events or one-off cheese, anything like that? I thought I'd seen that on your website.
What I've said is, you know, if the price is right, I will make a cheese to your requirement.
Oh, okay.
Now, obviously, I have to be careful what I do there, but generally, it'd be modifying an existing cheese. So, for instance, the Wayward, our wash rind star, I have within the same batch of cheese that I've made. We wash this every 2 days with a mix of brine and cider.
Yeah.
But I've made a special batch for a hotel where they produce their own gin, and I've washed it in gin. So it's the same basic cheese, but washed differently, presented differently. So yes, I can vary it.
That's good to know. People, you know, I know that it's quite a big thing now, weddings and special events, and you know, if people know where to come, then they can keep you in mind, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, try something else.
Always happy to try something different, and old enough to admit that sometimes it doesn't work, and that's the kind of bin.
Ah, yeah. Well,
you can't always get it right, but you have to try, because that's how you get it to perfection.
Of course, we completely understand that. Well, look, you've really covered such a good array of what you're doing, where you came from, how you began, all about your award and the cheeses that you do and where you're based. So I know you're a busy guy. You work on your own. Is it just you there? Do you have any help at all?
My partner comes down and helps sometimes, and I have a lady who used to be my PA on the construction side. She loves cheese, and she's helped me make countless batches of cheese, and thousands of wrappings, etc. So no, it's not just me.
Oh, that's good to know. Teamwork, always the way. Well, look, John, look, I know you're busy. Thank you so much for chatting today. It's nice to finally we've spoke on the phone. Nice to see you face to face and tell us where you've been, where you've come from in relatively short space of time. So, I mean, hats off to you for doing that. And it's going from strength to strength, and I hope it continues to do so. Thank you so much for joining me today, John. We'll talk again soon.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks.